Tuesday, April 29th, 2025. I hope you're having a wonderful start to your week. If you're wondering where I am, you can only hear my voice. There's a reason for that. It's because my office is getting painted. And I'm sure some of you think that this is a huge improvement in the visual quality, and maybe you're not wrong about that. But before we dive on in, please smash up the like button, subscribe to the channel. But let's go ahead and get on into this. So Decode, man, I'm loving his stuff, man. I am loving, this is the third or fourth video that I've shared stuff from Decode Jar. Give him a follow on X. Bears hate M2 charts because it goes against bearish bias, but like it or not, M2 is a leading indicator for Bitcoin with an 83% directional correlation. How would you like if you were presented with a 5 in 6 chance odds that Bitcoin is going to hit a new all-time high? That's essentially what we're seeing here with an 83% directional correlation. Facts are facts. That doesn't mean this has to play out exactly. It just means there's a 17% chance that it doesn't. Also see the Decode macro trend oscillator with M2 global liquidity overlay enabled, and you can see that it is also turning up. Not saying anything is going to happen. Remember, these are long-term charts, just showing you the facts. Let's zoom in here. Now, my concern is, okay, this is a little bit different. What I was expecting was to see a deviation from Bitcoin's price at the end of 2022 with global M2. And that is true, that there was a deviation, but what Decode's showing here is a little bit different. So where do we go from here? If we were to follow M2 100% correlation, we would be seeing Bitcoin at $140,000 in July. I would have a little bit lower expectations than that. I am now of a mindset that yes, we are going to hit a new all-time high fairly soon, maybe within next week, 6 weeks or so, and hopefully we'll see a drop in Bitcoin's dominance. But that just watch my most recent video talking about just a feeling, a thought that the market makers want to suck you in to believing that we're going to reach higher heights than what's actually going to happen. So just keep that in mind. But anyway, let's move on. And this is the thing actually that I shared in that specific video from Bitcoin Data 21, Google Trends, Global M2 Bitcoin. Watch the disconnect between M2 and Bitcoin come back now that everyone is focused on it. That's exactly my concern. Everyone is focused on it. Is everyone enough people are focused on it that I could see there being a scenario where there is a disconnect at some point, and I would say probably at the worst possible time. At the time that you'd be thinking, oh, it's game on, we are back, we're rocking and rolling, maybe around the time that we would see a new all-time high for Bitcoin, cross that just a little bit, and everyone be sucked into now's the time for parabolic prices and for alt season. You can see nobody ever paid attention to global M2 ever, except for maybe this little blip here in was that 2012 or something. But nobody ever paid attention to global M2. It's something I've been talking about for a while. But why are people paying attention to it right now? It's because right now, this is the hopium. We didn't start off 2025 the way that we expected, and then we see these M2 money supply charts, and all of a sudden, oh, hey, here we go. Now we have something to lay our hope in that we're going to hit new all-time highs, when really just, the entire market's been terrible in 2025. So here's our opportunity. Let's follow M2. And my concern again is that the powers that be, they're going to do everything they can to suck you in that you don't sell, so that they can exit when they want to exit. So just be mindful of that all of a sudden now the eyes are on global M2, and that seems like a recipe for the market to zig when you're expecting it to zag. Moving on, Bitcoin demand just flipped positive again. So, hey, I'm a bull right now. It makes sense to be a bull right at this moment. Absolutely. There's lots and lots of things I could show you that would communicate bullishness when it comes to on-chain analytics, when it comes to technical analysis, that we are in an uptrend. We're in an uptrend in Bitcoin. We're in an uptrend in altcoins. It's a good time at this moment. And I think May will be another good month. Not that April's been an amazing month. So here we go. Bitcoin demand just flipped positive again after weeks of negative net activity, the CryptoQuant.com apparent demand indicator 30-day sum is finally back above zero. This shift often precedes trend reversals or strong bullish continuation. Is this the fuel Bitcoin needs for a breakout above 94K? Are you positioning early or waiting for confirmation? Now, I'll be honest with you, I am not familiar with this indicator, apparent demand indicator, so I Googled it, of course. For the uninitiated, Bitcoin's apparent demand 30-day sum measures the cumulative net demand for Bitcoin over the past 30 days by tracking wallet accumulation and exchange outflows. So, I mean, pretty simple, apparent demand, that makes sense. That is the definition according to what Google extracted from a site. Just keep that in mind. Hey, another reason to be bullish short term. What makes Bitcoin truly extraordinary? Bitcoin truly extraordinary. And this is something that you might have heard people say, what we have seen with Bitcoin cannot be replicated. And why can't that be replicated? Because there's nothing in existence where 52.8% of the supply is held by individuals. No stock. That's not true. It's all, especially for stocks. I mean, largely the stock, it has to be 51% held by the corporation or there could be a hostile takeover. So not with stocks, not with other cryptocurrencies, because with other cryptocurrencies, they came along and people were awake to this entire world of crypto, but Bitcoin kind of snuck in. It snuck in and allowed random people, computer nerds, libertarians, to get Bitcoin. And here we go. 52.8% of the supply is held by random Joe Schmoes, you and myself. Me with my 0.00001% of the supply, and you with maybe twice as much as that, maybe not. I don't know. But then, 17.1% centralized exchanges, miners 9.7%, to be mined 5.45%, custodians 2.21%, and on we go. ETFs 5.84%. MicroStrategy just bought another 15,000 Bitcoin. That's insane. But still, the bulk of the supply is held by individuals. This is what makes it unique and extraordinary and less corruptible than pretty much everything else. And this is why, in my opinion, Bitcoin is the greatest invention of our lifetimes, designed to fight the greatest scam of our lifetimes, aka Fiat Currency. But moving on, lots of Bitcoin stuff today, except for I'm switching to SUI now. This is something to pay attention to. So from Torero Romero, SUI surpasses 160 million total accounts, up 55.9% in the last 30 days. This is a good sign if you are a SUI holder. 150 million, 160 million accounts as of April 26, 2025. Like it says here, 55.959% change in the last 30 days. I don't know in particular why that's the case. I mean, I've seen some meme coins on the SUI blockchain do well. I'm sure if you were to go to DeFi Llama and see what's going on DeFi Llama, you'd probably see their TVL has increased. But this has the potential to be right up there with Solana as a major player in crypto. We'll see what that looks like. What's going to be the premier layer one? Could it be SUI? Or will it be Solana? It's probably not going to be Ethereum. Ethereum's going to end up being AOL. Or could it be something that doesn't exist yet? Anything's possible. There's lots of options I haven't even named, So this is a good sign for SUI. It's a good sign for their price. It reminds me a lot of the reason why Solana did so well in 2021, and also a big reason why BNB did so well in 2021 is because people were using the ecosystem, which is not very common. I mean, how many people do you know use the ecosystem for Zilliqa or for Elrond? Not that many, but people are actually using the SUI ecosystem. So interesting stuff. And then I don't know, is this speculation? Or is this actually what's going to happen? This would be huge. Pokemon moving to the blockchain. Think NFTs. Think Pokemon cards as NFTs. This is the kind of NFT that would actually have some staying power. If Pokemon went to SUI, that would be insane. That would be a major catalyst for SUI's price to go much higher than where it is right now. So we'll see. Let's stay posted with that. Now, an interesting thing here, that this was a fascinating comparison. MicroStrategy, MSTR, is about to break TradFi. Here's an example of how out of whack things are. This is from Supply Shocks. I do not follow him, but I do now. So what do we have here? Example of how things are out of whack. Okay, get out of the way. Username. Tesla, Q1 net income, $409 million. MicroStrategy year-to-date income from Bitcoin, $5.1 billion. Now, how much? I don't know. Do we count that? Unrealized gains from Bitcoin. Let's just keep going. Tesla market cap, $890 billion. MSTR microcap, $99 billion. So MicroStrategy currently has a 1,240% greater earnings than Tesla, but trades at 11% of Tesla's market cap. If the market valued MSTR's year-to-date Bitcoin gains, unrealized gains, the same way it values Tesla's Q1 profits, MSTR would trade at $41,000 per share instead of $368 today. And that's without pricing in Bitcoin appreciation and further accumulation. Just was kind of interesting. So we see this tweet from Michael Saylor, the CEO of MSTR. Bitcoin price, $94,000. Bitcoin count, $538,200, or what is that? About 5% of the supply. No, not 10%. That's a significant percent of the supply. Bitcoin NAV, $50,788, and you can see lots of other stuff. So we'll see where this goes. Michael Saylor is either the smartest man or the dumbest man of all time. He will be remembered if Bitcoin is what a lot of us think it is. He's going to be remembered as one of the most significant people in crypto, probably the number 2 most significant person in crypto behind Satoshi Nakamoto himself. So let's keep that on our radar. This was an interesting thread here. 5 myths about money nobody tells you about. Few will recognize the second. Bookmark this. A thread, 1 of 9. In 2016, a median house in the United States cost $288,000 or 664 Bitcoin. In 2024, a median house in the United States costs $434,000 or 6.6 Bitcoin. So one day, maybe that'll be 1 Bitcoin. One day, maybe it'll be 1/10 of a Bitcoin. Now, I do not love this first tweet because I do love silver a great deal, and silver will catch up to gold. It's only a matter of time. But here's a myth. Silver is hard money. Now, is it hard money? No, it's not. There's really only Bitcoin and gold, but I think it's a worthy investment. But Duo9 says, nope, it's fool's gold. This is why it has historically underperformed gold. Silver is like any stock or altcoin. Avoid it if you want to protect your wealth. Those buying silver are like those buying Litecoin, expecting it to beat Bitcoin. Just don't. I disagree with that. But I think I agree with the rest of this. Real estate is an investment. Nope, it's actually a commodity. I actually do agree with that. It turned into an investment when central banks decided to park their printed fiat into RE equals huge bubble. This hid inflation and made you a mortgage slave paying interest over 30 years. Intrigued? See next. A house in 1960 was only $10,000. Today, that same house is $500,000. That's why we make fun of boomers for buying their houses for a few turkey sandwiches, and we have to pay $500,000 for the same house. Few can avoid that house today, but in 1960, it was within reach for most working people. What changed? I've talked about this a ton. USD stopped being backed by gold in 1971. The gold standard was killed, and RE as an investment started. Okay, next, Bitcoin is worthless if there's no electricity. Wrong. The Bitcoin network comes back to life as soon as everything else returns to normal. Nothing is lost. Your bank account or smartphone won't work either if there's no electricity. And oh yeah, by the way, there's no electricity in Spain and Portugal apparently right now, at least at the moment I'm making this video. So, there's going to be a lot of issues if there's no electricity. Bitcoin's value is not going to be a huge concern. Let's just say that. Number 4, it's hard to own physical gold. That's a myth. That's false. Avoid paper gold IOUs and hold gold bars in a real vault under your name. You get the best price and liquidity like that. Hold it in vaults based on Switzerland, UK, United States, Canada, and Singapore with Bullion Vault. Moving on, fiat. This is a myth. Fiat, like USD, Euro, Yen, is the best form of money. False. Fiat is an anomaly in the history of money. It's the ultimate trap used by governments to unknowingly tax you to death via inflation. It's easily dilutable and highly corruptible. How to be really rich? Purchasing power of $1,000. I mean, this is just a simple, very simple infographic here. You see, in year one, even at a 2% decrease, your $1 million over 25 years would be under $700,000. At a 10% annual decrease, which feels closer to where we are now, your $1 million would be worth to the equivalent of $100,000. This is what the melting ice cube, the scam of fiat currency is. There are only two assets that are considered hard money: gold and Bitcoin. Hard money is incorruptible, impossible to dilute or create out of thin air until we start mining asteroids for gold. If you want to be rich, accumulate gold and Bitcoin. Everything else will dilute your wealth. Why? Number 9, gold did a 4x after its ETF was approved in 2004. The Bitcoin ETF was approved in 2024. What do you think will happen next? We've actually already come close to a 4x. We've done close to a 3x. So a 4x from when the Bitcoin ETFs were approved would be around $160,000. That seems within reach for sure. If you like this thread, hit a follow, Duo9 Bitcoin, and continue reading my best alpha below. Let's move on. Some Moonboy Hopium here. Not that I agree with this, but always interesting to look at other people's perspectives. So we have Ash Crypto, Bitcoin 2016-2017 cycle. A lot of people are comparing this cycle to 2016-2017. So we pumped into Trump's inauguration, dumped 34% in Q1 of 2017, started rallying from April, which kickstarted a massive bull run. Bitcoin 2024 to 2025 cycle, same deal. Pumped into Trump's inauguration, dumped 32% in Q1 2025. April rally has already started. I guess history is about to repeat itself again today. Here's my problem with this. Yeah, you can easily say that for Bitcoin, that we seem to be following along with 2017 and with 2021. There was a moment in the first quarter of 2021 when Bitcoin went from 42,000 to 28,000. That's a similar dump, but altcoins were pumping really hard in the first quarter of 2021, and that certainly has not happened this time around. 2017, but that certainly has not happened this time around. And so, where's the disconnect here? Are we going to follow the same trajectory? If so, Bitcoin will get to $300,000 by early 2026. I find that hard to believe, but you never know. Maybe it is truly in the code. On a lighter note, 2025 tax-free crypto havens. Puerto Rico is not pictured here, but there's another place that you could go. We have Monaco, Portugal, Singapore, El Salvador, Georgia, Bermuda, Malta, Thailand, and Vanuatu. Yes, please. Yes, please. I can't wait to go back to Portugal. I am a dual citizen in the United States and Portugal. I need to figure out what to do to save money on taxes for sure. Looking at today's chart, Bitcoin is $94,650 at the moment that I'm making this video. And look at the circles here. I just did that for the sake of this video. Is this moment here similar to this moment from November of 2024? Let's hope. Let's pray. We'll see. Maybe, maybe not. But interesting thing to see how this plays itself out. And then let's head on over to CoinMarketCap. Trump coin, Fart coin, and Popcat are trending. We have Ethereum, fighting so hard to break $1,800. Not able to do that yet. XRP looking a little positive. That's a good sign. $229. Binance 605. Solana 147.95. Dogecoin 17.85. Cardano 70 cents. Tron 24.76. SUI up 64% over the last week. $3.61. So, long way to go for altcoins. Fear and greed is 51 neutral. Altcoin season index is 19 out of 100. We're nowhere near there yet. Total crypto market cap is $2.97. So we'll see where we go from here. Hopefully that direction is a good one. But anyway, that is all I have for today. I hope you have a wonderful day, a wonderful rest of your week, and I'll most certainly be seeing you in another video. Peace.